Welcome to Martial Arts Explorer, where we explore functional self-defense techniques as revealed in classical martial arts of all styles. I'm Scott Combs. Do you have video of yourself demonstrating a great technique? We'd like to see it. Details at the end of the show. When we develop form interpretations, often they go through several stages before we feel we have something solid. Lots of times we have our students try a new idea and tell us about any problems they have using the technique. This information is vital and helps us refine our thinking. Now, many martial artists aren't comfortable with this kind of process, and any of us can get caught up in the need to be right every time. We think about it a little differently, though. Knowing the limitations of a technique gives us a realistic view of its capabilities. Remember, every technique has its pros and cons, and every technique can be defeated. Knowing the limits of a technique helps a martial artist make good decisions in high-stress circumstances.
Thanks, Scott. We're going to try something a little different tonight. We're going to look at how we build our interpretations. We build our bunkai, as we would call them. When we start off with a technique, it's often not where we end up. Now, recently we went over a section where we had an extended strike coming in this way. All right, we then turned and did a takedown. Now, we started in one position, we ended up somewhere else. I want to sort of go over this process. So when you're looking at your own forms and you're trying to decide how to do this, you can use a little bit of this understanding, a little bit of this technique. Kelly's going to join me. And we're going to start with our regular reach, grab, push and attack coming in this way. Now, we originally started this technique, slap parry, sliding through, and coming in and striking in the throat, because the form shows a knife hand and a ridge hand coming out. So that's what we're trying to stay with. All right, comes in, that actually works pretty good. I can reach this just fine. Now, our alternate right off the bat, we thought, well, if this hand is in a fighting position here, I'm going to hit this. So what I can do is open my hand up, use the webbing, something we would call a sword hand, regardless of name, and I'm going to pop it straighter and strike into here. I can even dig the thumb into the throat as I come across, this way. But as I strike up, there's my strike. All right, follows the form pretty easy. Now, but as we started to look at this, some people were having trouble. They couldn't reach in. This hand here was often getting caught and wasn't reaching. Size also plays a little bit of a role. If I'm doing this to Kelly and she's performing this technique, so she's going to do a slap parry and slide in, strike. As I get bigger, my shoulder's stopping her hand for completely reaching. Now, she might pop me and it might hit my throat, but it's not going to make a really solid reaction. So we start looking, well, what is there? What can we do? What can we change? All right, it's all very important. The next thing we sort of develop to, I say the same idea. Now, if I grab nice and tight and I come into here, I get a break, all right? Or at least a nice lockout in this elbow. At the same time, because of my reach on her, this works great because I can now close my hand and I can strike and strike the elbow at the same time. So there was the next idea. Now, this one sort of worked, even as size differences. So when I was attacking Kelly, she can work this elbow break and pull the elbow and strike up and out at 45, and I get some reaction here, okay? So there was one idea. Now, the problem is if we were just going to follow the bunkai and we were sort of staying with this form, we really wanted to get to this sweep that had the hand hold, kick, punch, come back to a punch. Because a lot of times this is viewed as simply that. I'm kicking, punching, and punching again. Well, we know there's a good sweep in there, and we want to try and work this in since it follows in the form. So when we're reaching in here, if I come in this way, all right, I'm not set up because she's so high and her balance is up in a different position. A lot of times the switch out here got slow. And we didn't like the extra movement coming to the outside. So someone else brought up, especially a smaller person who could reach this, was the armpit strike. Slap parry, I circle through, I come in and stretch. This stuns the body. The whole body caves and moves, allowing us to slip in easy, pop into here, which set us up perfect for this pull through. Now, as we looked at this, we weren't doing a ridge hand anymore, but you know what? That's okay. We weren't, too worried about dropping that motion. We decided what other hand motions we can do. When I strike in, I can do a straight punch. Just put your index knuckle on it, punch the armpit. Works great. You're hitting a lot of nerves, muscles in there that hurts. Now, if I want to get under the heart point, heart one coming in, remember it's slightly to the inside, slightly to the front. If I push on the back, I'm not going to get a reaction. I'm going to come forward and I'm going to dig in, and the body's going to move nice on that. Now, a lot of times you'll turn up into a single knuckle this way. Some people prefer to collapse in and use a middle knuckle coming in. Now, one other alternate, I will use a thumb tip strike. If you're going to use a thumb tip strike, be very careful. It's something I just happen to learn I can do very well and doesn't bother my thumbs at all. Some people tend to bend back their thumbs very quickly and it hurts. But something that works great for me and I can hit nice and hard when I do a thumb tip strike, stretching and pulling and just striking in and just driving my tip of my thumb in. Some people might switch to what you call panther strike, hitting the top of the knuckles this way, coming in upside down. So a lot of choices, and it's something you want to play with as you're going to develop this. Now we're going to have the class come in and we're going to look at everybody just trying to find this heart point and see the different reactions we can get with the different types of techniques. So we're going to grab them, let them give it a try. We're looking at stretching everybody out. We're going to try striking this heart point from this extended position. Remember, originally it was a knife hand and a ridge hand. We're going to change it to slap, parry, grab. And we're just going to set up. And I want you guys, everybody to start with taking a regular fist and pushing your index knuckle, all right, up into the armpit. Now remember, the heart point is slightly forward, more towards the pec side of the body. Go ahead and try it and see what kind of reactions you guys will get. All right, looks like everybody's starting to get some reaction. Even if it's just a push, you're starting to move the body a little bit. All right, now give yourself a smaller striking surface. Go down to a single knuckle or to a middle knuckle. Now this is just preference. You can try different ways. Some people don't like to hit with just the middle knuckle because it tends to collapse. Some people support it underneath to keep it from collapsing. Some people just take the index knuckle and push it right out, and then they support it with their thumb, and that works too. Try different versions and see if this helps, because this is a lot smaller pressure hitting that point instead of a broad fist. The impact is much smaller. You're going to get a better reaction out of them. All right, I can see a little more pain in everybody's face. Everybody's getting a lot more reaction out of this, all right? And that's nice. Now the last thing you want you to try, when you come and you hit this at the very end, once you make contact with the point, twist it, all right? Drive the tip of the thumb, drive an index knuckle, drive that middle knuckle, and drive it over and just wiggle it back and forth. And I tend to just like to go straight in and do one rotation. You're gonna get a nice solid reaction. If you're on the point, you'll make them jump faster. All right, see how this one works. Now when you start to work on this, remember you're going to find different people react differently. Some people are going to react great. You're going to barely touch this and their body's going to move and jump all over the place. Some people are going to try as hard as they can and they're not going to react, and that's fine. Different people react differently, and they'll also light up on different spots of the body. Some people may react great under the armpit. Some people might react to leg points, all right, and really light up. You'll have to find that as you play with your partners, and remember, you move on quickly. If you were doing this for real and I come and I strike and I don't get any reaction, I'm not going to keep wiggling my hand around and try and find it. The point missed, or I missed my technique, and that's fine. I just keep going because the technique's still going to work as long as I keep moving, and that's what we want when we develop these. I don't want a technique that dies as soon as I make a little mistake. We want techniques that keep moving in a self-defense manner that allows us to protect ourselves all the time. All right, back to Scott. Thanks for joining us.
Use caution if you want to try this technique at home. You want to make it work, but you don't want to injure your friend, and we're not responsible for any injuries that may occur. Also, make sure you have a safe landing zone for you and your partner. We want good video of you demonstrating a favorite technique. Contact us via email and we'll give you the address to send it to. Our email address is explorer@fullcirclemartialarts.org. For Martial Arts Explorer and Michael Kleinepeer, I'm Scott Combs.